and you are live.
Okay. At 7:04 on my digital watch. Look at this echo. Call to order. And did everyone read the minutes from March 24th? And Lisa pointed out one big mistake with that. It says February 24th instead of
Wrong
March
date
24th.
header. Yep.
Any other mistakes anyone notice?
No.
Okay.
No.
We have a motion to accept the minutes.
Motion.
Second.
Barry, okay, so that's accepted. Number 3 is public participation.
Hey,
I
hey,
don't-
Dana,
Yes.
just to be technical, you have the
Yes.
motion, but you need to vote.
Okay, vote, yes, so did we vote on accepting the minutes
As amended.
as amended? And I didn't-
Abstain.
Mark, can you unmute yourself, Mark? Okay, and so the minutes have been accepted.
But you should, Dana, just for the stenographer, you should say who's
Oh.
doing what.
Okay, so Eric, Tom, Liz, Lisa, Mark, and Barry, and I said my same, have accepted the minutes from March 24th. How's that?
I wasn't there, so I abstained.
Okay, so, abstain is Lisa Grant. Okay, it's a good thing I have my sidekick, Tom. And next is public participation. I don't see anyone here, but going once. Okay, so we'll move on to reports from the boards, Norwalk Historical Society with Diane Gillerette.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Diane.
In another month, good weather. I'm very happy for spring. Let's see, coming up, we've started a Little Red Schoolhouse program going virtual, and it's going really, really well. The kids are just loving it. We even had one mother who wanted to come see the schoolhouse because her daughter got so excited. Seeing the schoolhouse virtually, they really want to go see it. So that is coming along. As it says, we've managed to, what we thought we would never be able to do, this year we're doing, and it's working wonderfully. We're reopening the museum on May 26th. That's a Wednesday. So Wednesday through Saturday, we will be opening the museum again. So everything will be working. So the elevator, as of last week, is now fully working. So it goes to all 3 floors. We're excited. We'll be having a press release about opening the museum, the new elevators, and we will be doing timed admissions, like mostly all the other venues have been doing, to limit capacity, following CDC guidelines, state guidelines, and because it's inside, so we are going to be following that at the same time. So just to let you know, that's going to be happening. And with that, we are now going to be looking at doing a one-day a self-guided tour and a guided tour in June at Mill Hill with the schoolhouse and the Fitch Law office. So we're going to start experimenting with that. So June 5th is going to be our first self-guided tour, and again, it's going to be limited by capacity. People have to purchase tickets online, so we're going to go through the whole thing, and we're going to limit it to 8 people per tour. There'll be 12, 1, 2, and 3, and the limitation for that is because the Governor Fitch Law office is not that big, and you can have so many people in there. So we're going to see how that works. So June 5th will be our first self-guided, and June 27th, which is a Sunday, will be our first guided tour. So we're going to see how this all works. So we're going to the next level. We've been doing the interpretive signage in both those buildings over the last couple of years. So they're ready to go. We just got kind of delayed last year. So that's our next adventure. We are also going to be participating in the Connecticut Open House Day. They did not do that last year. This would be the 17th one. So we are going to have an open house on June 12th from noon to 4, and then the museum will be open. And again, we're going to have, we're not going to be charging that day, but we will have timed entries. So people will sign up online in order to come and visit the museum. So, so we're slowly but surely getting back into our next level of opening up, and we're really excited. And we may also be participating in Make Music Day, which is June 21st, which is a Monday. So we'll see what's going to happen. And that is an event that happens all over the city of Norwalk, actually all over the world. Again, last year they did not do that. So this year, and Mark Allen with the Norwalk Arts Commission is kind of heading that. Those of you know Mark. So we haven't figured out who's playing or what's going to happen on that day yet. So just kind of watch out for that. And that's going to be June 21st. So we also had a couple events this past month. One was giving entertainment to Satan, the witchcraft and witches, and that was so well attended. We had 150 people on simultaneously, literally throughout the world. We were just like, wow, this is great. Who knew? And so we were very excited with having that presentation with Dr. Leslie Littenauer. And then on April 15th, we had Conservation Norwalk, our present day history, and we have 5 organizations from Norwalk talk about what's going on in terms of conservation, the Norwalk River Valley Trail, the Norwalk River Watershed Association, Norwalk Land Trust, Norwalk Tree Alliance, and Oak Hills Park Nature Advisory Committee. People really enjoyed it, and I think the organizations also enjoyed learning about each other, because we have so much going on in the area and nobody knew how much was going on in terms of conservation. So that was a really good thing to have that as a program, and we've never done that before. Again, because we did it virtually, we had a lot of people who showed up. And again, that one was recorded. If you go to our Facebook page, you missed it. It's on our Facebook page, and the other 5 organizations, if they can, they've been posted it on their set sites or Facebook page, or I've seen a couple of Vimeos where they've uploaded it, and they may also have uploaded to their YouTube channel if they had it. So if you want to go see all the good things that are happening within Norwalk and the region, I would advise people to go check it out. And coming up, besides us having our opening for Mill Hill and the museum, we're going to have a couple lectures. Nathan Hale, Lisa, Grant, you are on our calendar for May 20th to talk about Nathan Hale. So we're looking forward to that. And then the next one, we'll have one in June, and this is for entertainment. Darla Shaw is going to be doing a living history presentation. So the next time I'll tell you who she's going to be, which person it will be. But that's another thing that we're going to have in June. So we're going to be quite busy for a while, and we'll be working on the exhibit for the townhouse over the summer. So this fall, we'll have that completed. So it will be Norwalk Changing Communities Before 1835 is the name of the exhibition. And that is going to be a semi-permanent exhibition in the townhouse. So the townhouse is going to go through a slight makeover for the next few years. So we're looking forward to it. And that's also my report.
Hey, thank you, Diane.
Any questions?
Anybody? Oh, Todd, Kevney is clapping.
No questions, but you're going to stick around, Diane?
Yes.
Okay, because when we get to new business later, there's something that's come up that I'd like to talk to you about.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, so next we have, instead of Susan, we have to figure that problem out. We have Patsy Brescia.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think it's important for the minutes and the records that she was not
Right.
included, because I am not
Yeah.
as voiced in all of the planning that's going on right now. We did open on for the season April 8th with a fabulous exhibit on turn of the century medicine and after the Civil War. Interestingly enough, and the Spanish flu pandemic, interestingly enough, Susan Gilgore envisioned this exhibit prior to COVID happening.
Oh, so it's her fault.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
but it is just such an amazing coincidence. We were acknowledging and trying to educate people to the pandemic of 100 years ago and its anniversary, and here we are again. So it's getting a huge response, and if she were here, she could give you the details. I think what I will ask her to do is to write up a report and send it to you people so that you can be brought up to date.
Okay, thanks.
In addition, it's coupled with an art exhibit of original artwork from New England, not just Norwalk, but it is also focused on the pandemic, the current COVID-19 pandemic, and how people are responding to that and envisioning their environment. It's a fabulous exhibit. It's really, really quite impressive. So our tours are open. We're following all the guidelines as they change. It's reservation only in order to control that, because we can only have, sometimes it's 6, sometimes, it's changing. So we're going along with that. We are planning our usual events that we have: the scavenger hunt, the tea in the fall, the gala, and trying to adapt to whatever is possible. Last year, the gala was virtual. We're trying to not have it be virtual this year, but we'll see. So as I said, I will have her write up a report and get it out to you. I think it's important. I've been spending my time and energy on a major undertaking for the mansion, which I think most of you are aware of, but for a couple of new faces to bring you up to date. The mansion has been awarded 2 grants, one from the state of Connecticut for $5 million and one from the city of Norwalk for $2.5 million for mechanical upgrades. We have been working with our architect, David Scott Parker, for several years, preparing for this. They are currently deep into the process of working drawings right now. We are expected to have to literally move out of the mansion, everything, staff, programs, all of our furniture, all of our collections for 2 years. It's huge. And it's taking obviously a lot of planning and a lot of thought process to make it as smooth as possible. So this has not been highlighted in the public at this point, but we had anticipated having to be out by January. We are not sure now because I think we're a little behind in the schedule, but it will certainly be in next year, and it's a minimum of 2 years. So we are going to need a lot of support. We're going to need a lot of wisdom, and we're going to need a lot of help to get the mansion and this wonderful facility not to lose the momentum that we've been building over the last few years, because it's pretty amazing. This work is very intense and detailed. It's a new heating system. It is a new fire suppression system, which has never existed. new IT and security components, and electric extensions within the building. We have worked for probably 10 years now of getting electricity, appropriate and necessary electricity into the building in several other projects that we've overseen over the last 10 years or so. Because we were about to put an elevator in 20 years ago. And when they went out to contract, they discovered there wasn't enough juice in the park to be able to run an elevator in the building. So for those of you who haven't been through it recently, we have a lot of electricity on the first floor, minimal in the basement, very little and inappropriate on the second and third floors. So that is a challenge. If you aren't familiar with the building, it is, a stone building with an interior brick, interior walls. There are no studs, no wooden studs in the building. So getting access to locations in the decorative part of the building is a pretty extensive and artistic challenge. We will be meeting with SHPO in the next couple of weeks to share some of the plans that we are currently at. Much of the work most likely is going to happen from the floor above. They will be taking up the floors on the second floor in order to access the ceilings in the first floor. And obviously as they go up, and as you I'm sure know, that those are all decorative, highly decorative and unique, incredible ceilings. So yeah, it's a lot, a lot. And in the meantime, we're working to keep all of our programs going.
Hey, Patsy,
Yeah, sure.
where are you going to move to?
Yeah.
I've been looking at locations. The mayor's office has been helping us with some suggestions. We've looked at 4 or 5 different places. Right now we're doing an inventory of what we have because different things need different quality of protection. For instance, folding chairs and tables, that kind of, the things that office furniture is not important. But our collections, our wooden collections of our furniture have to have, careful humidity and temperature controls. And then there's just, stuff like, the easiest thing to help you visualize is we have a room on the 3rd floor that is filled with our Christmas decorations. That everything has to come out, everything, basement to attic. So I wake up in the middle of the night trying to answer the question that you just asked.
Sorry.
So I'll give you a call.
Yeah, we did move
yeah.
the Rowayton Historical one year, but
Yeah, we're doing
outside.
an inventory right now of here's another example. When we did the library restoration, the wallpaper took us 3 years to create, reproduce, working with Salamandre and Paris. And it was $46,000 for the wallpaper, which the trustees had a fundraiser and raised the money for. But the reason I mention that is about half of what we purchased is stored within the building in case we need it in the future. And that paper has to be protected in a very certain way. And right now it's in a discreet closet where people can't manhandle it, but it's got to be stored in a certain way and a certain temperature. So it goes on and on. Yeah. And again, this money is just mechanical. It is no restoration. We are trying to relocate certain sections of the mansion functions. The archives, for instance, we're trying to get them out of the 3rd floor and the 2nd floor and create an appropriate space in the basement. we're trying to make a community room in the basement underneath the billiards room. We have the second egress that we put in a few years ago with other grants. The staff, design-wise, will be moving upstairs into storage areas that we now have. But whether we have enough money to do that is very questionable. When we started this project, well, we started it in 2008, but when we received the funding, Governor Malloy was our governor. He visited the mansion and reviewed everything that we were doing. And we had presented to him then, in order to do it with some restoration aspects, we were looking at a $20 million project. He granted a $5 million project. We went to the city and asked for $5 million match. We got 2.5. And so as this money gets absorbed with things that you can't see, we're going to have to find other ways of raising money one way or the other, which we're very focused on, to really finish the project so that the mansion can be what it will be and should be for Norwalk and for our community and the surrounding communities. So yeah, questions?
Anyone?
It's daunting. It's
Yeah.
daunting. But it is, you know, I've been involved with the mansion now 20 some years, and this has been a dream for everybody. And gradually we picked apart things that we could do over the last 20 years. And now it's crunch time. So that's where we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Patsy.
You're welcome. Can I be excused?
Yes. Or wait, no. Eric had a question for you. Maybe we can get
Oh.
Eric's question. That was new.
Eric.
No,
Eric.
it was Diane that I need to talk to.
Oh, Diane, never mind.
Oh.
And I'm staying on, so it's go.
No
okay.
offense, Patsy.
Sorry. Okay.
Go in
Okay, so,
peace.
okay, so salud.
Hey, wait a minute. No.
Good night.
Okay, so thank you, Patsy. Next up, reports and buildings is next. I think David is still around. Oh, there you are.
Good evening, and I may go out of order here because I don't know what we're reporting where, but everything I work on generally has to do with buildings anyway, so I'll just go through it all. So we learned last week that the State Historic Preservation Office is giving out survey and planning grants. They're doing a round of them that don't require any match. They usually require 1-for-1 match. So we kind of hustled and put together an application for a $15,000 grant. Darren Raymond Locke helped us put that together. And then Tom Livingston graciously put it on the council agenda very last minute last week, because it requires a council resolution. And fortunately, our council gets that, hey, this is free money. So they took it and approved it. So I've got a bunch of paperwork to fill out and get in, but we're gonna do an update to the Lockwood Matthews Mansion Historic Register nomination. And this was done years and years ago. The one that's there is not particularly accurate because we know so much more than we used to. But the main reason why we want to do this is that none of the outbuildings were included in the nomination. So the carriage house, the gate lodge, the summer kitchen, the gardener's cottage are not actually on the National Register of Historic Places. And, you know, they just should be but the most important reason why they should be is that once they're on it, then they're eligible for grants. And I'm kind of working on our next decade restoration plan. And I saw this as an opportunity to get that fixed because, we need to put an elevator in the carriage house. That whole building needs to be completely renovated. We need ADA access into the 8 Lodge, and we need to put the slate roof back. We need to put on the gate lodge and on the carriage house. So there's well over $1 million of work we need, and we can get that half of it in $150,000 chunks through the State Historic Restoration Fund. But I can't do any of that unless we have those buildings on the nomination. So this just sort of worked out, and hopefully this grant will get approved. But that's what that's about. Just quickly, there was, as Patsy was talking about the big restoration project, the city finalized an agreement with the Lockwood Matthews Mansion, and they signed a contract that details the terms of how our $2.5 million that the city, that we are responsible for as the Historical Commission, is putting into this project, and how all that money flow is going to work. Alan Lowe, the Director of Facilities Management and Building Management for the city, is going to sign off. He's going to approve all the invoices and all the payments on our behalf for that $2.5 million. So that's all good. I think I mentioned last time, the council did approve the project for the last phase of the exterior jail hardscaping on Smith Street around the barn and the jail. We're trying to get that going, get the contracts finalized. And of course, I've been working on this for like 10 years, and I get this email from this guy in DPW saying, oh, guess what? We're going to reline the sewer pipe down Smith Street, and we want to run a temporary pipe right along our ramp where we're going to build the new stairs going up the hill. So I met with them. They were really nice. We believe we're going to, and it's all going to be happening at the same time. So we're going to have to work around each other. But I can't believe there's like nobody ever down on Smith Street. Nothing ever happens there. And then of course we start off this project and we have to do this, but that'll all work out. That's fine. The other item I have is you may be noticing the new fence, the newly restored fence going up to the Lockwood Matthews Mansion. That's going to be complete probably in another month. We're going to have some kind of christening, ribbon cutting for it, a ceremony in July that the DOT is sponsoring, and all of you will be invited. So that'll be something fun to look forward to, and a pretty big accomplishment. Because the fence it's a kind of a small thing, but it really puts some of the historic context back for the mansion, and I think really is going to make a huge difference. So excited to get that project done, and even more excited that the state is paying for it and we're not. I think that's all I have, Dana. Anything else I missed?
The hydrant, or just skip that now?
Yeah, it's another kind of annoying thing. I had Dana over there.
We'll do that later.
But no, I can give you a quick thumbnail.
Yeah.
One of the other issues at the jail and the barn, when they did the Head of the Harbor project, there used to be a hydrant further down Smith Street. Well, you can't have fire hydrants apparently on private property. So one day I pull up at the jail, and right next to the barn, there's a shiny new hydrant right in the middle of where our ADA sidewalk is going to go. So I'm in the process of fixing that and trying to get it moved a little bit so that we can work around that. And had to call Dana out there to meet with the first taxing district, and it's just all very complicated. And I had to wear had to hide my second taxing district hat, because some of you may know I'm chair of the second taxing district, and I didn't want to be telling the first district what to do. It's just like, no, this is about the Historical Commission. So I held Dana in front of me the entire time. So,
And are we going to be footing that bill, or is there any way?
That's still under discussion.
Okay, just pretend you didn't hear that, everyone else.
Yeah. And whenever we want to do a tour, whenever you guys feel comfortable meeting in person, summer's a good time to do a tour of the jail. A bunch of people want to see the jail and the barn because it's light out. So I promised this at least 2 years ago. So we can do it now. It's actually much safer now that
Yeah.
the ramp is in and everything. So just whenever we decide to meet in person, we'll do that.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you.
Oh, cemeteries, I've done Mill Hill and Pine Island, and I've got to drag Mark along one day. They look pretty good. I probably want to plant some Vanca at Brookside because of lack of plantings towards the back, and then some sort of dumping issues or sort of a bocce court thing, but that's not immediate. Otherwise, things look pretty good. I haven't checked Kellogg lately. Or
That when I went, it needs a little bit of a spring cleaning out of all the four. That was the other one. That was the only one.
right, Kellogg and Reed and what am I missing? I don't know. A few brain cells apparently. But yeah, we'll get together on that and check some things out. So that's it for reports. Do we have any old business? Going once, going twice. Okay, so new business is 132 Flax Hill Road with Workforce Partners.
Hey, Dana,
Yes?
once again, I'm gonna have to recuse myself,
Okay.
so I will join back in when you're done.
Tom Livingston is recusing himself from this discussion. Okay, so you can unmute yourself, Kevnees.
All the
Hello.
Kevnees.
Oh, Kevnees, number one. Okay, so hopefully people got to see their little packets. And the house is completely behind, apparently it's still bright daylight on Flax Hill where Todd is hanging out. That
Right,
is the house
absolutely.
we're discussing.
Good evening, commissioners. Thank you so much for making time for us. And we're excited to once again bring you another project here that is aimed at continuing our commitment to historic preservation in the city of Norwalk. Dana, if it would be all right, I can share my screen and bring the drawings up.
That is going to be our admin doing that.
You do have the permissions to do that.
Okay.
Great. Can you guys see everything?
I can.
Terrific. I'll let Todd make an introduction here, and obviously myself and also our architect, Mark Hopper from Crosskey Architects, will be here to help answer any questions you may have.
So this is a fairly straightforward Queen Anne house. It would belong to Edward F. Knapp, who with his brother had the Knapp Box Company. They made boxes, hat boxes and various other kinds of boxes. And they also had a lumber business in Sono. It's in pretty good shape, all things considered. It was turned into a 3-family house some time ago. It's been sided, windows have been replaced for the most part, and there's a fire escape. And there's a what I would characterize architecturally as a Home Depot porch on the front. So the plan is to address all the, many of these issues. Workforce, as you know, has done great work with other historic properties around town, and this is going to be the next one. They will, as you saw in the drawings, they will rearrange the each floor to increase the number of units. And they will also sprinkler the building, which means that they can remove that ugly fire escape. And they are also going to rebuild the front porch. And we couldn't find any pictures of the original house. But there are lots of sources on what a porch of this era would look like. So they are going to recreate as best we can a porch that would have been on the building, as well as a historic color scheme. So this house, like the others that they've worked on, is going to be completely transformed. It's going to look so much better. It's going to look much more like it probably did when it was built. And it'll upgrade the entire streetscape as far as, you know, in reality. So this is a real plus for Norwalk and certainly for that area.
And to piggyback on Todd's comments, just to be clear, the current number of units in this building is 3, and we would be looking to increase that to 5. We would be making certain modifications on the first and second floors in order to achieve that. And some of the interior elements in the foyer and the staircase immediately when you enter the building will be preserved. And those elements are actually pretty nice. There's a very decorative newel post, some intricate paneling, and we'll be maintaining those as part of this project.
Yeah, if I could, yeah, I don't know if I can share my screen, but or either you, me, or Kevin, but we have a photograph of that entryway, interior entry porch that shows the banisters, and they are surprising survivors in this house, and they're gonna retain those.
I think we saw that in the email.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know what you guys got. But that's essentially the story. I mean, the major changes are going to be to the interior. The historic details that exist will be retained, and the exterior will be brought back as much as possible.
Is my understanding there's a fire escape on this building?
Yeah, it's on the
There it is.
right. You know, actually, if you look at my the picture behind me,
Yeah.
Yep.
you can see it on that side.
And is that staying with the renovation?
No, that's going.
Okay.
They're going to sprinkler the building, and the fire escape has gone away, much like what they did on Elmcrest Terrace.
Okay.
What they're doing on Elmcrest Terrace.
And one other piece of the project that I think is a real net positive, just for housing in Norwalk, we, as you can see, we're including an ADA ramp at the front of this building, and also an ADA lift for the rear entry. So this first 2-floor units will be ADA compliant, which is great.
Okay. Okay, is that all she wrote?
Well,
Yep.
unless there are any questions, I mean,
Yeah, any questions?
that pretty much lays out the project, and then the intent and what we hope the final result, you know, what we're pretty sure the final result's going to be.
Now, there's a garage there. Is that staying?
Dana,
Or-
that garage is going to go away, actually.
Okay,
And I don't believe that garage was period.
right, yeah,
But we're
Yeah, no,
actually
that's-
redefining the entry as far as the vehicular entry to the site, and also
Okay.
increasing the amount of recreation area. And in order to increase that recreation area, the barn, or I'm sorry, that garage, has to go away.
okay.
That's got to be 40s or 50s on a good day.
Yeah, we're
And it
also,
So.
yeah, we're also including new landscaping that will help buffer that new ADA ramp and kind of help nestle the building back to the site.
Okay, terrific. Any other questions?
I had a comment. I mean, well, I appreciate the attempt to to be in historic preservation. I don't think that this building goes far enough to be considered historic preservation, with the exterior materials being vinyl and composite and everything, the porch post, braces, lattice, balusters, everything should be made of wood, I think. I mean, there should be tongue and groove wooden porch on the ceiling. I mean, we're making this a historic preservation. I've seen other applications go much further in their efforts to be more historically appropriate. In fact, the neighboring house, I went by there tonight, is one of the ones that maintained, the wooden siding. And I just don't think that this is looking, I mean, the rendering is good and their drawings are nice. The ADA compliant ramp, I don't know why it couldn't be on to the right-hand side of the house and not be like the focal point of the front of the house. But those are just some of the observations that I made. I think unsiding gets the house back to its historic appearance, and it would be more historically correct. And if we want to encourage people to do it, I don't want to see a bunch of vinyl sided houses going forward with this, like this.
Well, the thing is, Lisa, that the vinyl siding exists, and the cost to bring it back is prohibitive.
Yeah, I would echo Todd's comments. It's, we had a wish list for this project, Lisa, and I really do appreciate your comments. And we had a long wish list here, but, it's a small property, a small number of units, and, we had to make some choices. Do we either want to get the fire escape off, and the quid pro quo there is sprinklering the building, which comes at a pretty big cost.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously trying to make this building ADA compliant as well was a big goal of ours, not only just to meet the regs and be compliant, but we feel like that's a net positive for the property. And, it just came down to dollars over a certain amount of units to spread that cost. And, we tried to make the best decisions we could. And while I'd love to reside this building as well, again, it was trying to get
that vinyl that's there. Maybe it's fine underneath.
Yeah, we took a look, and it would need a lot of work, unfortunately. That vinyl is covering what you probably wouldn't want to see otherwise. But yeah, we just had to make some choices. So.
And piping in from.
I'm the last guy. I'm the last guy to be a proponent of vinyl siding, but all things considered. And I'm still not, but all things considered, given the balance of things, I think it's like Kevin said, they had to make some choices in order to get the project done.
I mean, even with the porch, can the porch be done in wooden materials and, lattice? I don't know if lattice is with the ADA compliant facing. And then I noticed on the sides, there probably should be some stone facing to match what's there over that cement. That was the other thing.
And what do you think?
Improved.
All great comments, Lisa. Again, it came down to an overflowing bucket here. We had our wish list, and it's just where we could allocate dollars, and we tried to do it as sensibly as we could. But to the wood comment, I think from a street facing value, I think it's difficult to tell the difference with how composite materials have evolved today. But also from a maintenance standpoint, in running a multifamily property, for us, it makes a lot more sense just based on our experience with the operations.
I would also, the first thing that stuck out to me was definitely the porch. And I know there's a wide right side of the property for the grass. Is it possible to run the porch along the side to have a ramp that way? Because to me, that ramp just sticks out like a sore thumb. And it takes
Yeah,
away from the character of the house.
I appreciate that too. And our goal was to help buffer that with the landscaping and do period landscaping treatments, boxwoods, hydrangeas, to help really make that frontage sing. But when we went through the site planning, it would have eaten into our recreation area and been further away from the ADA stalls that we've located on the new site plan. So in part, this was done to be proximate to the ADA spaces that would service that ADA ramp.
What about the back of the house? Can the ramp go in the back?
It's very tight back there, and it was a struggle to get the parking to meet Norwalk's requirements and DOT. We looked at a variety of scenarios here, and I don't disagree with you at all about, hey, I'd love to see it somewhere else. But with the site plan constraints, it was the only place it could go.
And with the way that
What about a lift ramp, like a short little lift ramp to a deck in the back?
We actually do have a lift for the rear entry. I could pull up the site plan for you guys if that were helpful, but there's two ADA entrances. One is via the ramp up front, and the second is via the lift, which takes you up to a porch at the rear entry.
Is it the two separate apartments, or is it to one entryway altogether?
So
The lift.
The lift is to the second ADA unit that's accessed via the rear entry, and the ramp helps you access the front ADA unit. So we needed two different means of ADA egress to satisfy both of the ADA units.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question. The plantings you were talking about, are they going to mask the ramp from a street view?
They are definitely going to buffer it, without a doubt. But, and to be fair, the ramp is detailed with some nicer elements. I mean, there's post caps and some fenestrated balusters and fenestrated top rails. So this isn't, I don't think it's a Home Depot special, so to speak. I think Mark has made a nice effort to bring up the quality of this ADA ramp. But the plantings will vary between, I would say, I always try to layer planting front to back, so to speak. So we've got some lower stuff in front, and then we've got boxwood and hydrangea that are up against the front of that railing. And they'll be somewhere between, I would say, 3 feet and 42 inches. So I think, yes, it would certainly help buffer that ramp to a large extent.
Okay, thanks.
No problem.
Any other questions or comments?
And if you don't mind, I have a couple of questions.
Oh, yes.
Comments. I mean, could you pull up the site plan that you mentioned?
Sure. Just give me one moment. I'm going to stop sharing for a second.
Yeah, actually, you can see that fire escape better.
Mm.
Which will go away.
So here's just the landscape plan, which generally shows the site plan as well. So as part of the project, we're shifting this entry drive slightly over to the left. As you may know, we own these two structures as well, 138 Flax Hill and 35 Clay, which we put a host of work into since taking ownership and really brought those properties back to where they are today. So there's a shift to this entry drive. It'll be a shared drive between 132 and 138 Flax Hill. There's existing parking area back here for 138. And you can see how tight this is in back of 132. We had to angle those stalls, and there's certain backup area requirements within the DOT regs. So just getting this to work was very difficult. And also trying to achieve the amount of parking required by Norwalk zoning regs for the D-resident zone was tricky. And here you can see the one handicap space proximate to the ramp, immediately proximate to the ramp with a path leading to it. We're planning to install 3 new flowering cherry trees in the front of the property. And again, here's that landscaping that will help buffer that ADA ramp up front. Some more plantings on each side of the building by the rear entry, and 2 new trees with a small picnic area and resident amenity area, recreation space here in the back of the site. This was the approximate location of that garage, which, as you can see, now goes away and is replaced with that recreation and resident amenity area.
Okay, that's helpful. I mean, I see the challenges that you're presented with. It's pretty tough. But I mean, you also have to understand that this group is about historic preservation, and the zoning regs are largely about preserving the facades of the buildings. And it's kind of hard to swallow the ramp in front of the porch. But I can see the challenges, and I don't see any other obvious solutions. You know, with swinging around with it would interfere with your parking.
Yeah.
In your drive. The only other question I have, you also own, is it 234 Flax Hill, the one at the end of Taylor? Is that yours?
204 Flax Hill, yes, sir.
204 that the commission approved. Is that project going to start sometime soon?
We hope so, yes. We have still been working on bidding that thing out, but hopes are to start later this year.
Okay, well, it's also, you know, I see developers in Norwalk, they come in with plans, they get them approved, you know, we go through all these public hearings and public outcry and stuff, and then they never build them and they try to flip them and try to sell them to, you know, somebody else who then doesn't do it either. So I just wondered, you know, you've got this one and on your plate and you haven't started the other one either.
Yeah, we are. I appreciate that, David. And I can just tell you that we're not those guys. We're long-term holders and we're committed to being in Norwalk. And ultimately, all these projects will get done.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else with comments or questions?